Nkositalkshows, find your own voice, lead from within. With me today is Carol Ann Cooper. How are you, Carol Ann?
Oh, not too bad, thanks. I'm, feeling a bit more perky and awake. I sort of had a few late nights over the weekend, working through Friday night and all of Saturday night to get my essay written, as I said I would get it done, and I did. So I think that missing those nights is sort of, how it catches up with you after a while and you start feeling a little bit jaded. Yes, I felt that last night, and I'm perking up. I have a few good nights sleep and I'll be fine. Yeah, so
that is awesome. That's awesome. So everyone, Carol Ann, she was actually dodging writing her essay. So I'm really pleased when I got her message saying I have submitted my essay. I was like, yay! So well done, Carol Ann. And if there's anyone out there who's putting things on the side and wanting to go to it, and you're like, not today, just go and get on with it. And so our topic today is all about forgiveness and forgiveness versus self-justification. Are you being honest with yourself? So Carol Ann, you chose this topic. So I just want to know, and I'm sure the audience will love to know, what was in your mind? What motivated you to choose this topic?
I think when I saw that, it's like, okay, self-forgiveness, self-justification. I think sometimes maybe we can, there's a case for looking at it, because we might attempt to do self-forgiveness, but is underneath that some justification. So I thought, well, what is the difference? How do you differentiate between self-forgiveness and self-justification? And I was going, I don't really know. So I thought, let's explore what does each of it mean. What does self-justification actually mean? And what does self-forgiveness mean? And so where is the differentiation between the two, and when are we sort of falling into justifying our actions, and then, or maybe just forgiving ourselves for those actions, but we're putting some justification in there as well. So I think we need to be really clear between the two. So what did you think when you saw the topic? What sort of came to mind?
I love the topic, and I got excited when I saw the topic, because in few weeks time, next week, yes, we'll be talking about we'll be doing a workshop about forgiveness, and I believe that in a world full of self-improvement and personal growth, it's important to take a closer look of the differences between self-forgiveness and self-justification. And we sometimes find ourselves beating ourselves up for mistakes and bad decisions that we've made in the past, and struggling to forgive ourselves. And it can be it can be a very empowering process. And but by allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and still have control in our lives, and also allowing ourselves to actually move on from that pain, whatever that pain it was, because I don't think intentionally we make mistakes. Our intentions is to make those mistakes. I think it is to whatever the event that happens in our lives, it happens to teach us something. That's what I've realized myself. So I don't know about you, Carol Ann. For me, I've realized that every event that is presented to me, there's a lesson that I personally need to learn. So it's just like I've been doing this confident thing challenge, it's made me realize that actually whatever things that are happening in life, you have to sometimes, like myself, personally, I'm talking about myself. There were times where when events happen in my life, I will feel that this person needs to know, they should know better, they should not do this, they should not do this, but I wouldn't hold them. But now I come to an understanding that whatever the event that is presented to me, God is showing me something that, or there's a weakness in my life that I need to work on, or sometimes I'm being taught to actually how to respond to every situation. But I'm not saying people go around and let people take advantage of you. There is a difference between responding and letting people, not fighting people, living your life and let people get on with whatever the messed up life they are on, than to actually pick a fight that it has nothing to do with you. For me now, if somebody comes in and they behave in a certain way, or if I'm presented with the event, I'm able to say, okay, this event is mine, it's for me, and I'm going to face it. But some, I'm able to say, okay, this is not my fight, and I'm just going to walk away from it. I'm not going to be part of it, and I'm just going to walk away. And I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to actually connect to it. I just want to go, ooh, I cannot respond to it. I cannot connect to it. That's my attitude now. Since I finished the challenge, I'm like, I was before a little bit. I thought I was being harsh, but now I realize I wasn't being harsh. I was actually on the right path, choosing my fight, choosing my battles, choosing how I respond to the situation. If somebody's life is messed up and they want to drag me to it, I'm like, okay, honey, I hear you, but not today. And then I'm out. If I make mistakes and I have to forgive myself, I just have to pray and forgive myself and move on. There is no time to battle with me, because the enemy, to bring the enemy, me becoming my enemy, I don't have that anymore. So it's all those things that I have realized in life, that I need to be in the present moment. I don't know about you, Carol Ann.
That's the key, because you're talking about not intentionally making mistakes. We don't intentionally make mistakes. The fact is that you are not present in that moment. That's why mistakes happen. You're not, again.
Have you got water?
I have. Why this happens every time.
You
I've
need
been talking
water.
fine this morning, not on here. There's something I need to acknowledge around speaking, I think, rather than making excuses and justifying it.
You need to do tongue drills.
It's just like, yes.
Carol Ann, do tongue drills. Like
tongue drills.
Yeah,
that's my tongue. That's not.
Yeah, but it opens here. It opens your throat. It will separate your glands.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they can be stuck together. So before you sing or before you speak, you should be able to do some warm up.
I do some, but not a lot. So I could perhaps do that. But I can feel it's something here that's stuck around talking. Because as I say, I can be talking fine this morning to other people, but come on here. So there's something that I'm not acknowledging, I think. I'm just excusing it. I'm justifying it, that I've got this. So I can hear some justification going on. So I think this is where, because justification is actually just pushing away what's actually going on, what's the truth. And so maybe there's some truth that I'm not accepting or I'm not looking at around speaking, around what I want to say. And maybe there's some beliefs at a deeper level that I haven't acknowledged. And so therefore they're sort of wanting to surface to say, you know, we need some looking at. So I will look at that. But yeah, I hear what you're saying about opening up, throat relaxing, doing some of those exercises. So let's do some more exercises that I've got. But from the way I work, when sort of a cough is there, it's also, according to Louise Hay, it's about something that wants to be said that hasn't yet been said. It's something that's wanting to be heard. And so there's something here that wants to be heard that I've not been allowing. And so I'm going to explore that.
Yep.
So certainly, I think there's an element of a part of me who's thinking, do you really know what you're talking about? Do you really know what you're talking about? And I'm going, well, I don't know. I'm just exploring this topic. I've looked up the word, what does justification mean? Because although I sort of know to justify something, I didn't really get the full flavor of it. And so it's putting excuses up. It's not allowing yourself to actually see the truth and what is the actual truth that's right there in front of you. So you're making excuses, you're justifying it, and you're not actually acknowledging what is so. That is self-justification. And it actually blocks us from being able to do anything or move forward. And I love this, once you create a self-justifying storyline, your emotional entrapment within it quadruples. I thought, what a lovely quote. That was Rima Chodron. I saw that. So it's like, what have you entrapped yourself in? What storyline? Because sometimes you can get emotionally hooked to it. So maybe there's something I've emotionally hooked myself to this. Constantly having this croakiness in my throat when I'm wanting to share something or share an opinion or a thought, because that's all it is an opinion. It's a thought, it's what I think. And sometimes we don't allow ourselves to acknowledge that we do have an opinion. We have a right to our opinions.
Of course.
And that is something that I felt, I think has been quashed over the years, and even as a child, that I felt I didn't have a right to have an opinion. I'm not sure where that came from, but it's something that can happen. And so therefore you just go quiet. And I know being on this talk show has allowed me to find my voice, which is what the show's about. Find your voice.
Yes.
Speak from within. And so I've been willing to take, all these different topics, even though, yes, I help people with writing their book, but it is about them finding their voice through the written word, being able to share their story, be authentic, and share their truth. And so this avenue, or this platform, has allowed me to explore different topics. And as you said, each time I find one, it's perfect, because in that moment, it's something that I really need to explore. And I found it's actually helped shift a lot of things for me. And I think the same for you as well, Nomsa, when we talk about different topics, it's always quite pertinent in the moment, and it does shift something. So being on here has helped me to find my voice and to know that I have a right to express my opinion, my thoughts, what it is I've found as I've been researching or looking up that maybe someone else's opinion, I'm thinking, oh, I agree with that. And so I'm sharing it. And that's okay. That's okay. So I stop shutting myself up. And this is where others can do the same. Stop justifying what is happening and actually look at the truth. What are you denying yourself? What are you denying to yourself? And going back to what you were saying about, you don't intentionally make mistakes. It's because you aren't present in that moment. And you mentioned about being present. It's so important to be present. But if you're not, things happen. And so by saying, oh, but I wasn't present, it's not my fault, and I was doing, something else, and it happened, it just happened. That's not accepting the fact that actually you weren't present in that moment. It's not accepting your part in what happened. Once you can do that, that's when you can start forgiving yourself. Because that's when self-forgiveness comes in. Because that's the difference between the two. Self-justification doesn't acknowledge any blame or any part, doesn't even face up to the truth. Whereas self-forgiveness, you actually face the truth. You acknowledge what happened. And you give yourself self-compassion. Compassion and empathy then come in. And that's important. So, yeah, we don't intentionally make mistakes. I totally and wholeheartedly agree with you. They happen. They happen. It's what you do from there that moves on. And as you said, you learn from it. That is, again, the next key, is learning from it. Let yourself off, it's not about letting yourself off the hook. It's about acknowledging, moving on, and not dragging with you all the time that mistake. So you can let it go. You can let it go. Absolutely. So you use the word weakness. Something is given to you. You talk about weakness. A weakness in your life, or weakness that's happening. That is a word for me. What I think of is things aren't working. They're not working out as you might like them. They're not working in a way that you would like. Didn't have the result you wanted. So therefore something needs to be looked at. Whether that's a weakness, that's a good. What do you think in that term? Is it weakness, or is it just it's not working?
Things are not working.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, Carol, and I love when you say we have a right to actually give our own opinion, because there are some people that I find that they don't give their own opinions, and then when they don't give their own opinions, they get frustrated, and then when they get frustrated, that's when everything gets out of control. And I always, and also give your opinion when it's necessary. For me, I give my opinions when it's necessary, but when it's not necessary, I don't. And also the both of these things, self-justification and self-forgiveness, they both have consequences, and they have a set of choices of their own consequences. And if we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and leaving the weight of blame behind, and also some people, they use the blame to make themselves feel better. But if you come in a place where you have deep compassion for yourself and have the courage, if things like are not working out, and or if you are in a place, or some people, they are in a relationship or they're in a business and they don't give their own opinions, have the courage to actually give your own opinion, because when you give your own opinion, then you are able to find your voice. That moment you are able to actually move forward with grace. But then if it does happen that you don't give your own opinion and you beat yourself up, I should have done that, I should have done that, I should know better for my wrongdoings, and then at the end of the day, the confidence might be part of the confidence. I find myself wherever I go, I give opinions when it's necessary. But if I go to a place, if somebody judges me instead of getting to know me, I don't feel that I need to give no opinion. Honestly, I don't have time to actually keep talking and keep talking. I just go along with whatever is being done. And at the end of the day, my personality will come out later. And that personality is a personality where I just show you guys, like show somebody that when you meet somebody, never judge a book, by its cover. And also not coming in a very judgmental way, and knowing that, people, how they respond, how they meet, when people meet people, they meet people and they make their own judgment at the same time. And at the same time, if you don't actually, some people believe that if you don't give your opinions, give your opinion when your energy out, when it's needed. That's my beliefs. If you don't give your opinion, sometimes it's best to shush. I find it sometimes there are some places where I'm like, sometimes it's best in this, like right now, for Nomsa to shut up and get on with zip it and just get on with it and go home. Not everything needs my opinion. Those are the things that I've realized in life, doing this challenge and even before, that when you walk your own path, things will happen, mistakes will happen, failures will happen. But it doesn't mean that you have to beat yourself up, you have to blame yourself, you have to blame people around you. In businesses, I don't know anybody, for me, I've met people who have ripped me off in life. People, it will happen as a business person or a non-business person. You will meet people that are going to take something from you and you'll never find them. But do you have to blame yourself? No, you don't. Because at the end of the day, God tests our lives in so many ways. And I listen to my pastor before I get upset. Why would somebody do this? I listen to my pastor, and when he preaches, he says, even when you go to the bank, when you write using the bank, the pen, he says, when you finish, some people, they take it by mistake, or they take little things, they pick it up, a paper, pick it up and take it. He says, anything that does not belong to you, don't take it, because he has a voice. He says, whatever things that are being done to you, or the money. I met somebody, and the next thing I get home, we were down with £10,000. That person had taken money into our bank account. And that person, when we went back, that person was never there. The shop was already empty. That person had gone. And when I listen to my pastor, sometimes we say people have taken us for granted. He says, you don't need to worry. When somebody takes something from you, It might not affect them to that generation, but it will affect them later on, or it will affect their children to the next generation. So he was like, you don't need to worry when somebody takes something from you. Whatever is being done or somebody takes you for granted, there's people that go through abuse. They beat themselves up. They blame themselves. If somebody enter a relationship, they find it hard to forgive. But if they knew what in the physically and in the judgment in the spiritually, they wouldn't be beating themselves up. They will be singing hallelujah to that person that has abused them and forgive them and moving on. Because it doesn't mean that person, they've got away with it. The judgment is still upon them until they decide to ask for forgiveness. But some people, they are like, they don't know. So you have to study how physically, spiritually works. It's like your name, your person, like I see you as a Carol Anna, could easily disrespect you and say, oh, yeah, this is just Carol Anna. She's no celebrity. She's nothing. But in spirit, if I was to find you in spirit, maybe you are one of the God's angels, the bigger ones. So in spirit, you might be different. So that's why I'm saying people need to stop blaming themselves and stop getting bitter about things that happens in life. Just forgive yourself, no matter what pain you go through in life, no matter what challenges you face in life. I've learned this the hard way, really, really hard way. And I look back and I say, God, why didn't I know this a long time ago? Where I spent time moping and complaining and winding up and saying, this was done to me, this was done to me. But now I don't. I've learned how the real world and the physical world works. I've learned that. And now I'll never beat myself up. I would never ever beat myself up. It's like when we had a disagreement, when there was a disagreement with Nkositalkshows name, I've realized straight away that it is the right name in spirit. It is the right name. So that's why there's an energy that is trying to remove that name from me, because it has been changed. When my pastor was preaching that you have to check your name, what is the meaning of it, because your name, it might be the reason why you're not moving forward. So it was like your legal name, when it comes to life in spirit, it might be the reason why. So I was like, so that means we are praying for Nkositalkshows to move forward. And there is an energy that is actually fighting us. We've chosen the right name. So he's fighting us to remove it from us. So I was like, you energy, and we're not changing the name. And when I prayed, I said, we're not changing the name. And another spirit came in and said, Nomsa, you've gone bonkers. I was like, yeah, so I'm right.
Yeah.
So you have to forgive yourself. Things happen for a reason, Carol, and I don't know with your life's journey what you've gone through in life. Me, I've looked back and I'm like, why do I waste my time in bitter and be bitter instead of just get on with it?
I love that question. Why be bitter?
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of people that they end up being bitter, and that's where, because they're constantly justifying where they're at and why they're there, and it doesn't help you to be happy because you're constantly having to justify. When you can acknowledge what has happened and acknowledge your part in creating it or it actually happening, and it's not about blame. There is no blame. It's not saying, oh, I'm to blame or you're to blame. You know, it's my fault, it's your fault. It's got nothing to do with faults or blame. It's what happened. It's dealing with facts. What actually happened? What took place? What did you do or didn't you do? What did you say or didn't say that had the impact or the consequences that then took place. And it is literally just acknowledging the facts and your part with it, taking responsibility. Once you can do that, that's where you can then start moving forward. You can feel it lifting off you because you're then speaking with truth. You're speaking about truth. And once you actually speak about truth, there's no having to think about, well, what I've got to say. Because when you speak with lies, they shift and they change because you can never remember them. Whereas when it's the truth doesn't change. And so it's easy. It's like, well, this is what happened. This is the fact. And you don't have to hold on to, well, what did it, what did I say? This is the fact. And you can feel that relief because it will just come to you when you got to talk about it. And then you can then start putting in place or saying, you own up to that, your part in it. But then it's about having compassion for yourself, but also putting in place or committing to what can you do so that it wouldn't happen again, and making a commitment to being more present or to putting into existence maybe some steps or something that you could do to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Does it mean it won't ever happen again? No. Does it bring down the likelihood that it would happen again? Yes, it does. Because then you're more present to it. You're taking responsibility for those actions. You're being more present, more conscious, and you're less likely to make that mistake again. If it does happen, do you beat yourself up? Because if you start beating yourself up, then there's something to look at here. Because are you attached to or addicted to that emotion? Do you love blaming yourself? It brings out, there's an emotion in there. Playing the victim, playing the martyr. If so, then again, that needs to be looked at. You need to face up to, do you love being a victim? What does it bring you? Do you love being a martyr? What does that bring you? Own up to it. It's not about making it right or wrong. It's about facing the truth. And maybe, by being a victim, I get more attention. Sometimes, I'm a victim. And sometimes you find people want to console you. They want to give you, advice or help you. And those people will come out of the woodwork. And is that what you're wanting? And maybe it's feeding an inner child's need that wasn't met. So go back to the actual truth here. There's something there to be healed. An inner child's need that wasn't met. Go in, meet that need. Allow that inner child to grow up with that need being met. And then notice what happens. Can you then stand in as creator of your life and of your experiences? And notice how the people around you shift and change. And don't worry about it, because sometimes we get a bit, oh gosh, they're all over me. But notice who then starts to come in. The sort of people that see you in a different way. They actually support you to grow and to expand and to speak your truth and to clear the frogs in your throat when they come. They allow you time to speak. And sometimes we do need a bit of time to be able to get our words out. And for some people, it takes longer than others. Some people can just speak. And I'm going, how do you think so quick? And how do you talk so fast? Because my brain, it hasn't always thought that quick. And I've always had that. I need to think what I'm going to say before I say it. It's almost like I can't trust what I'm going to say, or there's a belief that was there. And I'm becoming more trusting in knowing that I don't have to necessarily think. I trust what it is in my heart that is here to be spoken about. We have a topic. I have ideas, things that I want to share. And then it's allowing from my heart what else is here to be shared. And just allowing that to come out without holding it back and thinking, oh, I've got to think about this before I share it. Is it okay? Is it okay? Do I have permission to share this? It's like, not about having permission. It's about recognizing whatever, trusting. And I'll very often, I do get that. I pray and ask for the Holy Spirit to speak through me, to connect with whoever it is that I'm speaking with. What is it that's needed to be heard here? Speak through me. And for me, it's trusting that there's still a deeper level of trust to come yet. And I'm aware of that I do trust it much more than I ever used to. And it amazes me sometimes. I'm hearing what's coming out of my mouth and I'm going, oh, really? I hadn't thought about that to speak, but it is pertinent and in the moment and is what is needed. And as you said, Nomsa, sometimes it's about knowing when to just move away and not say anything. And other times to step in and say what's needed. And then it's, just being present with what happens as a consequence and being able to then pick up from there. Because if something doesn't work and it's something blows up in your face, it's like, oh my goodness, I said that and that's what happened. Oh dear. I didn't mean for that to happen, but it happened. So rather than making excuses for it, just go through, oh, this is what I said. This is what happened. Acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Be present to it. Forgive yourself. Have some compassion. Go, okay. In that moment, I felt it was right to say it. And this is what happened. And it's having a conversation and realizing, well, where's that, what happened? Where did the other person or those other people go to with it that created the response or the reaction that happened? And being able to find some resolution with it and get another perspective. Because that was something that actually I realized when I was writing my essay, and when I finally got it, it's 4:30 a.m. that I sent it across to my daughter in Australia, so I knew she was already up. Her day was nearly over. And for me, I thought I was clear on what my essay was about. And then when she came back with her edit notes, I realized, it was beautiful. I really appreciated what she shared, and she'd clearly gotten what I was talking about. And I could see how she'd taken some of it and made it more important than the other bits. My main message wasn't taken. It was another message that I was bringing in that she'd taken as my main message. Can you see there's just a subtle shift?
Yeah.
And rather than going, oh, for God's sake, don't you understand what I'm saying? Or, I'm stupid, I can't do this, whatever. I just was able to read her notes and go, okay, so she's seen it this way. And I sat with it for most of Saturday afternoon, and I could see it playing around in my head, and I could see what I needed to shift or tweak But to then put that into words, it was like screwing my head. My head was going, oh God, but I walk the talk. I do the processes that I talk about. I use the brain gym or other activities to shift so that I can get clarity. I was able to do the fine tuning that was needed and able to shift things around such that my main message was clear, and the other message that was coming out that I was talking about got its place in order, if you see what I mean. So sometimes it's realizing that when we think we're clear, how it lands to someone else is totally different, and recognizing that we're not as clear as we think in our communication. And that was a beautiful lesson I had over the weekend. And the way she just rephrased some things brought it in line with what my essay and talk is about. And it was just beautifully done, beautifully crafted, the words. And I'm thinking, oh, that's nice, thanks, Em. And without me going, oh God, I could never think of that. It's like, no, she's one who she did a degree in English. She's been an editor. That's been her career. She is much more that wordsmith and writer, and brilliant with words and crafting than I am. Because I haven't developed. My maths is there, and I'm a work in progress. Does it mean that I can't get there? No. I'm saying that this will help me get there. And the work that I do enables me to listen and take on board what it is now being shared with me. I can now learn from that because I'm opening up that ability. And she actually found an article that was very pertinent to what I was talking about, and has helped me to realize that there is research out there that I had no idea of. There's me saying, oh, there's nothing out there. And she's going, yes, there is. There is. Just haven't seen it. And it's like, okay, it can now come to me and I can now read it. And she beautifully took a quote from this article that I was able to use. It was just perfect. And so I was really grateful for her part that she played in helping me to learn and to grow and to craft my essay and make it better. And as she said, this is what the editing process is about. It's about supporting you. It's not radically changing everything.
No.
It's just supporting you. And it was beautifully done. And she did acknowledge that I integrated the edits really well. And I'm thinking, oh, thank you. Yeah, and as I say, that took me to I was doing the edits through Saturday night, and that took me till 9 o'clock Sunday morning, all the way through, before I then sent it back to her again, by which time she was almost on her way to bed. So she looked through it and was able to just comment. She couldn't do a full edit again like she'd done before, but it didn't need it. Just those comments just helped me to go, oh, okay. And the fact that she said, yeah, she agreed with what I'd done. And she actually could now see what my main message was. She got what it was I was talking about. It's like, yes. So it's not blame. It's not making yourself wrong. It's acknowledging and then forgiving yourself and having compassion with yourself. You did what you did. You said what you said. It went the way it went. How can you then move on? Learn and move on, which is something you were talking about earlier, wasn't it, Namsa?
Yeah.
That you learn from it and then you can move on. And it's about growing.
Yeah, you learn and move on. And also, this world is full of joy, full of possibilities. And I was listening to Matthew yesterday. He was saying, sometimes we give weight to our problems, but we don't realize that actually the problem, they happen because they were designed for a human being. and then we end up labeling them, and we put weight on them, and they end up being something to us. We give them a meaning. And it was like, imagine if you were presented with a problem and you tell yourself that everybody else, there are some people who are facing problems. Some people in hospital, they're being told their loved ones have died. They're being told long-term sickness. And imagine you were like, actually, I'm not the only one that is facing these problems, and I'm going to rise above them regardless of what. Instead of, if marriages don't work, we beat ourselves up, we don't grow, we don't develop in life, everything it just falls apart, and that peace goes away. We allow our past mistakes and failure to control our present moment by putting weight on them and justifying for the situation is basically self-deception. We say this person deceived me, or they did what, but actually we are deceiving ourselves. Is ignoring our reality. So if we were to actually acknowledge our reality and the sense of self-worth, we wouldn't be in where people, they end up not gaining anything in life. And I think it's very, very important to our audience to actually know that going through problems and the whatever goes on in life, in our lives, if we don't forgive ourselves, we deceive ourselves. And for me, I don't entertain problems. And my attitude actually ended my relationship, because my ex at the time, he couldn't understand that why my behavior was like that. He was, Nomsa, you don't care. I was like, you have no idea how much I care about life. But at the same time, there are problems that I don't have control over. The only way for me is to just pray and just live, not to ignore problems, but it's just continue living my life. And by doing that, I am actually having compassion for myself. And that's how I actually live. And that's why some people say, why are you always happy? I'm happy because I have compassion within myself. Sometimes when the whole world turns against me, I know there's one man that it will never turn against me, which is God. And that keeps me going. Whatever goes on in my life, I'm like, take control of this situation, this burden that has been presented to me, this weight that I cannot fix. Take control of it. Testify for me. Because in his scripture, it says he is the man of the truth. He is the man that testifies the truth. I'm like, testify for me to move forward with my life. And whatever the mistakes that I have made, I ask for mercy, for this burden to be removed, to be put down. I'm like, I'm asking for mercy. I don't know what my parents did for me to have to go through this. I don't know what my ancestors did for me to go through this. And I don't know what I have done, God, for me to have to go through this. But I'm asking for mercy. Have mercy on me and take this thing away from me. And intervene. Your way, my way is not working. That's how I say. And all of a sudden you see things clearing away. And then I'm able to move forward. I'm able to actually acknowledge myself that I'm a human being. I'm a broken human being that is wounded, that has joy, that is deserve joy, that deserve peace. And we live in this world where the world is very judgmental. Some people are unhappy. Some people go through problems and they don't know how to deal with them. And some people, they know how to deal with them, and then they'll go around and judging other people. So I'm like, when I was doing this challenge, I was like, God, I will never, ever judge anybody anymore. Please, can you just walk through this path with me? And then when I'm walking through this path, I'm looking back where I've been. I'm like, if I find somebody who is in a situation where I've been, I won't judge them because how I'm the path that I have taken now is not because I'm better. It's not because I'm better than other people. It's because I'm able to surrender and allow myself to forgive myself and allow myself to ask for mercy and move forward with my life. So whoever comes my way, if they're broken and they're actually willing to actually do whatever it takes for them to be free, I will teach them how I've done this freedom of having the challenge and asking the power of God to actually fall upon me so I can be the person that I want to become. And Carol Ann, you talk about responsibilities and the truth as well. You said the truth doesn't change, and playing the victim. The truth doesn't change, whether we like it or not. It's never ever gonna change. But the truth will want us to walk in the path that is truth and not to deceive our life, not to deceive ourselves, and just walk through that path. Ask for forgiveness. Ask yourself to forgive yourself. And know that everything is going to just work out just fine. Nothing stays the same. Every problem, every situation is temporal. But any decision that has been made by God is it lasts. It will last for a very long time. Over to you, Carol Ann.
I love that you've brought that word deception in, deceiving yourself, because it is deception. By justifying what you've done, you're deceiving yourself. There is deception there. And that's a great word. So it's recognizing, that there is deception here. And maybe look at, well, why are you deceiving yourself? What is it you can't face? But what you also said about, we live in a judgmental world.
Yeah.
And it's true, there is so many judgments out there. And it's taken me a long while to even now I can catch myself being judgmental. And it is around recognizing where you're being judgmental and recognizing what is being judgmental out there. And it's so easy. I realize as I said, it took me a long while to really stop being as judgmental as I was, because it's something that I'd grown up with, and it was just normal, and it felt comfortable, to give all these judgments around the other people when they're like, you're really calling them out or being very judgmental about it. And it just felt it was a way of life. It felt comfortable. And so to stop doing that, so it did feel uncomfortable, because there was this pull. I was justifying myself. It's like, well, I have to, No, because you're not being fair to the other person by being judgmental. You don't know where they're at. You don't know them. It's just you looking at and making a judgment about them, about who they are, about what they're saying, about what they're doing. They do what they do. They say what they say. They are who they are. And really, it's about accepting people for who they are. Does it mean you have to like what they do? Does it mean you have to agree with what they're doing? No. But do you need to be judgmental about it? Maybe there's something to look at. If there's something you don't like, this person is showing up in your life for a reason. As you were saying earlier, things happen for us to be able to learn from. People show up in our lives in certain ways to prod us, to niggle us, to nudge us, and can be really in our face because maybe you didn't get the message the first time. And rather than saying, oh, I can't stand them, they're being, this way or that way, and look at it, face up to the fact that what they're doing is niggling you. Their way of being doesn't fit or sit comfortably with you. explore the truth, stop being judgmental, and then acknowledge what has brought this person to you, their way of being, or the consequence of something that they did that had you perhaps feel uncomfortable or impacted you in some way. What's the learning that you've been asking for? What's the path that you've been asking for to open up? What is it that you need to clear from your past that is suddenly in your face such that you'll be able to move forward? There's always a reason. Look for the truth, ask for the truth, and stop being judgmental. And I found that there's something beautiful about when you stop being judgmental about someone. Something beautiful opens up, a whole nother way of being, and about being present with that person, and a different conversation that then takes place. So I think I'd just like to leave people with a quote by C.S. Lewis, one of this quote in particular: an explanation of cause is not a justification by reason. So it's, obviously look at the two things. Are you justifying, or are you actually just explaining? Because sometimes we do need to explain. It's not giving reasons, it's not excusing, it's not justifying. It's just saying what. So explaining why you did what you did, or what were the actions you took, without justification. Okay, so it's a fine tuning, isn't it? It's really fine tuning your language. And it comes down to language and words again, and your use of language and words, and how other people then hear it, because people don't hear the same way that you perhaps say it. And so it's being able to tweak what you say, learn. Our language is really quite complex. And so everybody says something in a different way that could actually be the same thing.
Yep.
It amazes me. And that's what I've learned and I've opened up to. And I can now hear that. And I remember quite a few years ago listening to my parents talking, and they were getting quite irate with each other. And I remember going, hang on a second, but you're talking about the same thing, just using different words. And it was just like, whoa, hallelujah. And I realized that that was how their way of being, because they use different words, but my discomfort that I'd grown up with, because I just couldn't get that. I just felt uncomfortable with it. Being able to see in that moment and understand what they was each saying, and that they were talking about the same thing. It was like, oh my goodness, is a freedom when we can really dive into our language and understand words, different words, and get to know when people are talking about the same thing, just using different words, just coming from different angles. When you can do that, there's a freedom and an ease. It's beautiful. So I like that. C.S. Lewis, an explanation of cause is not a justification by reason. Just enjoy, be kind to yourself. And if you can't find a way of self-forgiveness, of forgiving yourself, we have a workshop coming up. 27th of May is our first one, which is no cost. All we're asking for is feedback. So you come on, you experience it, and just give us some feedback. So if you want to experience self-forgiveness, if you feel that you're struggling to understand self-forgiveness, come and join us. 27th of May, is it 2:00, Nomsa?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Is it 2 hours we're doing the workshop for? Or just
yes.
1? 2 hours, isn't it? Because there's 3 of us. Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be 2 hours.
Awesome. look forward to it. So yeah.
Me too. Me too.
So
So
if people want to register, there'll be a link,
yeah.
that they can register.
Yes, there will be a link to register for the workshop. Self-forgiveness is very, very important. When you forgive yourself, you have the ability to understand yourself a bit better, and also is self-discovery. You're discovering more about yourself when you forgive, and it allows you to be in the present moment, not to just go around and fighting every battle that is not yours. And then, or when you make mistakes, you end up battling with yourself. So the idea is set yourself free, break free, and discover yourself, and discover things that brings you joy, discover things, how to celebrate your life and how to cope with mistakes, because mistakes helps us with the skills. For me, starting my business, the mistakes that I've made, I wouldn't have the skills if it weren't those mistakes teaching me how to do things. And because when we look back, we are like, oh, this is what meant to be done. Not that way, not the other way around. But if we beat ourselves up, we end up in this cycle of being in stagnation, because you can't move forward if you blame yourself. That means you are in this cycle where it's called a bus stop, where you are not moving forward. Life is not happening for you because you've decided to go around in circles, blaming yourself. When some people blame their parents, some people blame their managers, their past, their exes. We blame all sorts. But the truth is, when you discover who you are, when I was going through my journey of no relationship, not working, but the truth was I didn't have the skills. But I started blaming the divorce of my parents, which I can't even remember. I was young when they divorced. I can't even remember what happened. All I know is my parents. I can tell you all is my parents divorced. The rest I cannot tell you. But I started putting the blame until actually I discovered myself. I was like, okay. This has nothing to do with my parents' divorce. It's just me. I don't have the skills and my childhood attachment. So those things you start realizing that, and then you forgive yourself. But I wasn't bitter with myself or saying I should have known better. No, I shouldn't. Life is a journey where we discover ourselves as we walk through it. Without problems, we wouldn't know, we wouldn't discover things, because when you have problems, you make mistakes, you are able to solve them. You work on your personal development, personal growth, and then you look back and you're like, oh, I should have done that. I should have done that. My daughter did something the other day, and I said something to her. She goes, Mommy, you do know that in life I have a choice in life. I was like, no, Kayla, you're using the word the wrong way. She goes, Mommy, you always tell me that I have a choice. I was like, yes, you do, but not this way. Don't use the word this way. And she goes, oh, okay, then what can I say? And she was like, so I had to think fast how I'm going to help her to actually move forward, because she was like, she's doing her maths, she's taking her time, and she goes, I'm going to take my time. You're not going to force me to be quick. So I had to actually to say, okay, you decide to change your speed, to challenge yourself, you might get a little bit of a present for actually challenging yourself and being good to yourself. And she goes, okay, that sounds like a plan. Sounds like a good deal. So, okay, I'm going to change my speed and I'm going to challenge myself. And when I'm finished this challenge, I'm going to just pick a little thing or a toy that I love to have, and you guys can buy it for me. But I'm going to change the speed, and and I was like, okay, sounds like a plan. Let's make a deal. So we ended up making a deal. So it's just, life is a game. You just have to know how to deal with it. Any words of encouragement, Carol Ann? Or tell the audience where they can find you? Have you told them?
I haven't. You can find me on LinkedIn or Facebook, Carol Ann Cooper. And I'm also on Instagram, carol.ann.writing.facilitator. And I do have a Facebook group called Get Your Book Written. So stop making excuses. Stop denying the truth. Face the truth, face up to it, and acknowledge the truth and forgive yourself. It can be that easy. If you don't find it easy, then just reach out and come and join us on the 27th.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you're watching us on our channel on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. And we also have a membership. And if you're watching us on Facebook, please like our page and follow us. And we have a group, Unique Billionaire Mindset and Nkositalkshows group. Please join the groups and be part of the family. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Live with grace and God bless.
Bye.